All right, moving on to, y'all had HVAC, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what'd y'all find with HVAC? So let's go to the HVAC checklist for y'all that want to follow along. That is on page 51.
No. Okay.
All right, so what'd y'all find for HVAC?
We missed something. We started on 50.
We actually did this side.
Okay,
And we didn't make it to this yet.
That's okay. That's okay. So what'd you find with that the HVAC contractor is, or, you know?
That's new, or?
Yeah, that's new or confusing or you think is going to be a problem?
I guess the load calculations and stuff as far as all the manual S type, which may not relate to me personally as far as, you know, the site superintendent, but the HVAC guys,
Absolutely.
they're not currently doing that, you know. It's kind of like they're just converting tons to square footage and putting it in the house, you know, as far as that.
Oops. Visual. And then duct sealing, is that another thing that was sort of?
Kind of where we're going with that is the fact that we're requiring either a mastic paste or a mastic tape to seal the ductwork.
Mm-hmm.
On that issue, we've got on number 3, attach the inner liner of flexible duct with nylon plastic straps and tighten with a manufacturer-approved tool. In the 30-page document that is the Arkansas changes to the international code, it states that even the flex duct needs 3 screws, just like the metal duct does.
Are you guys finding that you can generate pretty easily?
So let's move into HVAC, everyone's favorite subject. Okay, so HVAC. So load calculations. So this is something that's a little bit quirky about the code. And we discovered this glitch when we were going through and making this book. So if you go to the checklist, and again, please don't shoot the messenger on this. You look at page 51. So you'll see that on page 50 it says, Manual J load calculations or equivalent method are accurate and complete for the dwelling unit. And then below it says right-sized equipment is selected and based on ACA Manual S or other approved equipment selection method. So then let's go to the code comparison. So the code comparison says, okay, if you look at this, and this is on page 52, it says, oh, look at the 2009 IECC 403.6 equipment sizing. So that's where it's going to tell you that references to. Okay, let's go to there. 403.6 is equipment sizing, and it says heating and cooling equipment shall be sized in accordance with section M1401.3 of the International Residential Code. The way that Arkansas adopts the International Code, Residential Code, is they adopt everything except for the mechanical chapters. So they do not adopt this section of the code. They instead say, we have the Arkansas 2010 mechanical code, and that's what you need to follow. So there's a glitch in here because the intention was that we were requiring Manual J and S, but when we actually discovered that maybe we weren't. Now, one thing that's interesting in all of this, when you go to the Arkansas Mechanical Code, a Manual D is required. A Manual D is a duct design, and it basically makes sure that the right amount of air is getting to each room in your house. It makes sure that the ducts are the appropriate size and that they're getting that air to it. You cannot do a duct design without doing a Manual J and a Manual S. And a Manual J figures out how much heating and cooling the house needs and then what size of equipment you need.
And where you place the outlets.
Yeah, and where you place the outlets. So you can't do your manual D that's required by the Arkansas Energy Code without doing your manual J and S. But it doesn't specifically state that it has to be turned into the code official. It just says that it has to be done. If you're a builder, I would ask your HVAC contractor if they've done it. If they give you a blank look, you probably got your answer right there. So this is one thing that comes out of, that potentially can come out of a manual D, which is, you see now what that duct system looks like. Now, whether or not this is a good duct design, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, this is one of the things that gets produced. And then there's another chart that goes along with it that will tell you exactly what the CFM is coming out of this duct, and what size this duct is that needs to be installed. So in a certain way, it's kind of nice because then it gives, if everything's done correctly, it can give you a list of exactly what you need to purchase as far as your duct system goes. About sealing ducts. Joints and seams, and I am not going to read all of this, but I did read through all of it, and here's what I got out of it. Is mastic required? Yes, mastic is required on all joints and seams. Every single joint and seam of the duct system. Now notice that we're talking about ducts. We are not talking about the air handler unit. Air handler unit is not considered part of the duct system and does not fall under this. You don't need to mastic, you know, any air handler panels or anything like that.
But they leak bad.
They do leak bad. In fact, I usually find that if a duct test is failing, that's the first thing that I'll go seal up. I'll go tape that up and see what happens. And usually, how thick should the mastic be installed? According to this code language, 0.08 inches. What the heck is 0.08 inches? Are you going to get out your ruler? Good rule of thumb is as thick as a nickel. So whenever you hold up a nickel, whatever that thickness is, make sure there's about that sort of layer across every joint and seam. I've seen guys go out there and they paint them so nicely, and it's just like barely coating it. And I'm like, y'all, as soon as we get any sort of change in temperature, especially when they're doing like panned returns, I'm like, this is all going to fall apart. You know, this mastic is not enough. So thick as a nickel. Can tape be used? Yes, tape can be used with mastic. So you can't just do tape anymore. You can use mastic tape as long as it is that 0.08 inches thick, and it meets 181. So it has 181 on it, which is the standard that this is referencing in here. Will ducts be tested? This is a choice for you to make. Some jurisdictions may require it in the future. I think the only one right now is Fayetteville. I think Fayetteville requires it, right? Yeah. The only one right now is...
Everything. They're crazy about it.
They're like California out there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why are we talking about sealing up ducts? Well, this is why. So we got a nice little hole right here. In this case, we've got a bunch of holes in this system, so that's why we're talking about sealing things up properly, is making sure that these holes don't exist. Bunch of holes right here, you know, that's just air that's pouring out into that attic. You know, Ron was saying 42% leakage. So, visual inspection. This is one option to make sure that your ducts are passing code. The code does not state who will do the visual inspection. It just says that there has to be a visual inspection. If you want to do duct leakage testing, there are certain numbers that you have to meet. With the duct leakage testing, the code does not state who has to do it. The only thing that they do state is that the jurisdiction may require a third party if they want to.